Let's go.
Now.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. It's the biggest moment of my pro tennis career. And I mess up because of a simple smile. In my first year on the pro tennis tour, I'm playing a second round US Open Friday night match against world number 2, Michael Chang, in front of 24,000 people and millions watching on TV. And if you're a young American growing up, this is the one tournament you want to be playing in. And one of the bad boys of tennis, one of my tennis idols, John McEnroe, is announcing the match for USA Network. And I'm wearing Johnny Mac's vintage Nike Air Attack sneakers in his honor. So if I blurt out a profanity today at any point, like McEnroe used to do on the court, it's not me. It's the shoes. So somehow, despite the nerves, I get it to 2-2 in the first set when I take my first deep breath. Dropping into the present moment, I enter a zone. And for the next 15 minutes, I'm absolutely kicking Michael Chang's ass. Let's go. I'll take a little fist pump. Come on. Thank you. Got to get this party started today. Okay, so now the score is 5-4, and I'm 1 point away from winning the first set.
Good chance for this Stanford grad. What a great serve. And Salzenstein again turns and smiles to his family. A rite of passage.
See that smile right there? That's the exact moment that I lost the match. Even though I won the first set, the dominant thought in my head in that moment was, Jeff, thank God you didn't embarrass yourself. I couldn't overcome my limiting thoughts and beliefs. I couldn't overcome the waves of pressure, stress, and anxiety coursing through my body and mind. I couldn't own my zone for the rest of the match. I lost the next 3 sets and the match to the number 2 player in the world. But I was excited because my pro tennis career was taking off like a rocket ship until disaster struck. Over the next 2 years, I suffered 2 career-threatening injuries to my ankle and knee. My body was falling apart at the age of 25. Riddled with self-defeating thoughts, anxiety, and worry, I seriously considered quitting. And I was embarrassed at the time because I was living in my parents' basement and it was killing my dating game. I'd lie awake at night, scared, uncertain, worried, questioning what I really wanted with my career and with my life. This was a defining moment for me. Adversity staring me in the face, challenging me in every way. I imagine you've all experienced defining moments in your life. Maybe you're in the middle of one right now. In many ways, this is an amazing time in our journey, the next 20 years at Nexa. But these are also very uncertain times, right? And that uncertainty can lead to adding us feeling even more pressure and stress to perform at peak levels, right? So at this moment in my career, I decided to make a decision. I did a lot of soul searching, and I decided in this moment to slow down, pause, and take a deep breath. You can do the same in these uncertain moments. And we can ask ourselves, what's the next best action we can take to own our zone? So in this moment in time, I made a decision to come back to the pro tennis tour. I was committed to figuring out how I could come back and be the best version of myself after these career-threatening injuries. And so I decided to become obsessed with all things high performance. I went to my first yoga class and rebuilt a body that was out of balance. And when I went to my first hot Bikram yoga class in LA back in 1999, I walked in, I saw 12 men in Speedos, and I almost turned around and walked out. It's like, this is the wrong room for me. But I decided to stay because I needed to work on my ankle flexibility. I became aware of my limiting thoughts and beliefs, the stored up, pent up emotions that were hurting my performances in those big matches, like against Michael Chang. And despite relentlessly pursuing all things high performance for years, and finally achieving my goal of breaking the top 100 in the world for the first time at the age of 30, not bad considering that 70 million people play tennis worldwide. If I'm honest with you, I was burned out and stressed out from playing professional tennis for over a decade. All the heartbreaking losses and setbacks had taken a toll on me, and that stress and anxiety was building. And because I wasn't listening, my physical and mental health started to go downhill. But none of my tennis setbacks matched the stress and fear I experienced on December 30th, 2007. And I remember I was visiting my Florida family. And I love my Florida family, but the one guy I wanted to see was my little brother. We had a very deep connection. There was a 17-year age difference. Not only was I his brother, but I was also his godfather and a mentor. We shared a love for basketball, and he looked up to me as a pro tennis player. I remember walking to his bedroom that morning. He was a high school senior at the time, sprawled out on the floor, passed out, a white foamy substance coming out of his mouth. My brother Eric was overtaken by a cocktail of drugs. And when I saw my brother lying helplessly on that bedroom floor that morning, I made a decision to go all in to support his recovery from addiction. It took my brother's deep struggle with drug and alcohol addiction for me to make the abrupt and difficult transition from pro tennis player to performance coach. And I quickly realized that coaching other high performers to become more resilient and improve performance and health is exactly what I meant to do. And one big reason why I'm here today. Let me ask all of you, have you felt the pressure and stress the last few years? I see a few nods. What about right now? You're not alone. A study by the Positive Group shows that 55% of all high performers are experiencing high or extreme levels of stress right now. And when I share that with audiences, most of the times they shake their heads and they say it's more like 95%. So that 40% gap, I think those folks are lying in that study. All this stress and struggle puts a glass ceiling on our performance and results. That's why it's essential that we have stress reduction and resilience building fundamentals in place, not just to survive, but to thrive in today's challenging environment. It's the fundamentals that the best athletes and performers use to thrive under pressure. We're going to cover the fundamentals and strategies to help you expand your physical, mental, and emotional capacity to handle stress so you can master the longevity game in life and with work. These fundamentals, they're not trendy tips. They're simple and they're proven to work if you apply them. And we're going to focus on the 3 core principles in this Own Your Zone framework today. Restore the body, rewire the mind, reconnect the heart. Before we shift into the first core principle, I have a powerful, fun, and unique exercise that takes just 60 seconds. You can do it anytime during the day, and it can dramatically reduce the tension and stress in your life. Who wants some of that? Great. You all get to stand up if you're able. This is the Tony Robbins portion of the presentation. We'll get the movement going here. So this exercise is called the hop and shake. And the hop and shake is completely optional, but I'm going to encourage you to do this exercise because it will change your energy and your state if you do it. It's kind of like the mini jump rope without the jump rope. So you're just going to follow along with me, and I just want you to hop and shake with me for about 60 seconds. You may feel a little self-conscious, I get it, but I encourage you to go all out with this. Okay, here we go. A little bit loud, so I'll just keep that off for now. We're good. We're good. So just follow me right now. So we're just going to be hopping up and down like this. Yes, I know hey, if we're going to evolve in the next 20 years in AI, we got to start hopping and shaking in the workplace, okay? So let's not hold back. I see some of you are really getting into it. I encourage that. Let's keep going. I apologize to those that are in heels. Incredible balance over here. Let's acknowledge the balance. But let's just shake those shoulders out and let's just stay with this a little bit longer. If you can't come off of your heels, you can still move your shoulders up and down. Why are we doing this? Because we're getting tension out of the shoulders, the neck, and the back. Because we're sitting all day, right? Don't stop. Keep going. You got this. If you feel like getting a little crazy, you can do a little bit of a twirl like this. Yeah, okay. Come on, give me another 10 more seconds. Yeah, some of you are looking at your phone like, who is this guy? Why is he here? Okay, stop. Okay, put your hands up about 3 seconds apart, 3 inches apart. Anybody notice some tingling right now, either in their body and with their fingers? What's going on there? That is energy. That is energy that is moving. We were just vibrating the cells of our body. So if you struggle with anxiety, if you're in your head, if you're ruminating, if you're overthinking, if you're frustrated, you can do the hop and shake, and it will shift your energy from your head into your body, and it will change your state and reduce the tension. You may be seated. Thank you. All right. If you forget everything from today going forward, just remember the hop and shake. It could change your life. All right. Okay. We borrow from our bodies like the bill will never come due, but it always does. And when it does, nothing else matters. Our health isn't everything until it's gone. Before she passed away 6 months shy of her 100th birthday, my beloved Nana taught me her trade secrets to health and longevity. Number 1, every day, Nana performed a stretching and mobility routine on her living room floor while watching her favorite soap opera, Days of Our Lives. Number 2, every afternoon, Nana walked up and down 4 flights of stairs to get the mail. She never used the elevator. And number 3, every month I'd take Nana on a lunch date. And we'd go to her favorite local steakhouse because she's a self-proclaimed steak and potatoes girl. She'd order her filet mignon, and it would take her forever to eat it, 45 minutes. She would just chew her food, and I'm like, come on, let's go. I got work to do, right? But maybe that was her secret to longevity, slowing down, becoming present, and chewing her food. I'm pretty sure Nana didn't follow the great spiritual and political leader, Mahatma Gandhi, who said it is health that is real wealth, not pieces of gold and silver. Health is real wealth. Many high achievers sacrifice their physical health because of job demands and overwhelming workloads. And I know that achieving financial success and hitting those KPIs, they're all important to do, right? But let's not do it at the expense of our physical health and the well-being of those we care about. One study shows that burnout contributes to $322 billion of turnover and lost productivity costs globally. So how do we shift that? Consider this. What if we commit to thinking, feeling, and acting like the elite athletes that have mastered the longevity game in their respective sports? World-class athletes are masters at rest and recovery. They work hard and they train hard, but the ones that have longevity aren't the ones that work hard and play hard. They work hard and recover harder. They work hard and recover harder. That's the missing link to all the burnout challenges in the world today, that we're not focusing enough on our recovery. In the world of pro tennis, and this is our first core principle, by the way, we restore the body. In the world of pro tennis, there's no one better at focusing on his rest and recovery and more obsessed with taking care of his body than the greatest tennis player of all time. No, it's not Roger Federer. It's Novak Djokovic. At 38 years old, he consistently dominates players 10 to 15 years younger than him. He says, the most important part of my day is the night, the moment that I put my head on the pillow. Djokovic makes his nighttime routine a priority so that he can handle his intense workload and keep his mind sharp. He is deeply focused on improving his sleep quality and having a routine around that. Our health, happiness, and performance is directly connected to how well we sleep. Dr. Matt Walker, and this is our first pro fundamental. Sleep deep. The most important part of the day is the night. Dr. Matt Walker, he's a neuroscientist and professor at Cal Berkeley. And I'm a Stanford guy. We do not like Cal Berkeley, but I'm going to give him a free pass because he's one of the world's leading researchers on sleep science. Dr. Walker says that sleep is the single most effective thing you can do to reset and restore your body and brain health. But he's quick to point out that we have a global sleep epidemic on our hands. 50 to 70 million Americans are affected by a sleep disorder, and over 60% of adults around the world aren't sleeping as well as they'd like. So you think about your organization, your team, the people that you work with. If over 60% of us aren't working as well or sleeping as well as we'd like, we're not going to be able to show up with that creativity, that focus, that energy, the ability to innovate, come up with new ideas to execute if we don't get this part of our life dialed in. And here's a sobering statistic. If you average 5 hours of sleep per night, your mortality rate goes up by 65%. So after that sombering news, who wants 2 quick hacks to improve your sleep? Yeah? You sure? Because I'm about to take all your fun away. The first sleep hack is the screens steal your sleep. Look at your relationship with the cell phone. Get it out of the bedroom or at least 6 feet away from you when you're sleeping. And number 2, don't fall victim to the nightcap sleep trap. Look at your relationship with alcohol until happy hour is over tonight. Okay? I'll give you a free pass tonight. Alcohol is not a sleep aid. Here are the 3 reasons why. Number 1, it sedates you. It doesn't give you the deep restorative sleep that you need. And number 2, it litters your sleep with many more awakenings during the night. Number 3, it blocks REM sleep or dream sleep. And without proper REM sleep, you don't get the overnight therapy to stabilize your mental and emotional health. So I'm going to encourage you to consider reducing alcohol or eliminating it before bed, several hours before bed, so that you can improve your health and performance. This is how we own our zone. We're in a second pandemic right now, the mental health crisis. One study shows that the COVID pandemic sparked a 25% increase in anxiety and depression worldwide, and I'd argue that the number is much higher than that. The 25% increase came from the toilet paper shortage alone. Remember when we couldn't get toilet paper? It's brutal, right? Well, there's an enemy that we're fighting against. It acts as our companion. It never, ever leaves us, and it sticks closer to us than our own shadow. It's our mental chatter. The studies show that we can have as many as 60,000 thoughts per day, and 80% of those thoughts are negative. And guess what? 90% of the thoughts that we have today are the exact same thoughts we had yesterday. So if we have the same thoughts today as yesterday, it leads to the same choices. The same choices lead to the same behaviors. The same behaviors create our experiences. Our thoughts create our reality. Our thoughts determine whether we can own our zone. This is the second core principle, being able to rewire our mind with our thoughts. Bill Buckner, he was a first baseman for the Boston Red Sox back in 1986. And what many people don't know is that 12 days before the World Series against the New York Mets, he was interviewed. And here's what he said in that interview.
The dreams are that you're going to have a great series and win. And the nightmares are that you're going to let the winning run score on a ground ball through your legs. So
the dream would be to win the World Series, but the nightmare would be to let the ground ball go between his legs to lose the World Series.
Wilson. Little roller up along first. Behind the bag. It gets through Buckner. Here comes Knight, and the Mets win it.
Now Bill Buckner is famous for making one of the biggest sports blooper mistakes in history. Now, by verbalizing his worst nightmare to a reporter, he didn't make the ball go between his legs, but he significantly increased the probability of a mistake happening by externalizing his negative thoughts. He planted a seed in his subconscious mind. Here's one big problem that high performers like us struggle with. Even though we're doing big things in the world, we're using negativity as a weapon against ourselves. Here's what some of the research shows. So, according to Richard Weissman, who's a psychology professor, he says that negativity is more powerful than positivity. And world-renowned mental conditioning coach, Trevor Moawad, claims that negativity is 4 to 7 times more powerful than positivity. It's 10 times more powerful to say things out loud than to keep it to yourself, which means it's 40 to 70 times more likely that bad things or a mistake will happen if you say negative things out loud. So if you want to change how you think, feel, and act, if you want to own your zone, stop saying stupid shit. That wasn't me. That was McEnroe's shoes. Blame him. A few years ago, I was speaking to an entrepreneur, successful entrepreneur and businessman. His son, a junior tennis player, was really struggling with his mental game, and he couldn't figure out how to solve it. We get off the phone, and he sends me this text. It's the worst thing I've ever been involved in my entire life. I'm pretty heartbroken. Stopped working in 2008. Sold my company so I could be with my kids as they grew up. I literally gave up a $10 million a year job for it. I've never felt like a bigger failure. How do you think that's working out for father and son? Now contrast that text with a poem written by another father to his son. It's called The Champion's Poem. The champion is a gentleman. He does not whine or complain. He picks himself up when things get tough. He absolutely never quits. He wins with class. He sometimes loses, but does so with class. Champion stands tall with his head high. He walks proudly and with a purpose. You are a champion. That champion's poem was written by my stepfather, Miles Cortez, when I was 12 years old and going through my mullet phase. Miles wrote that poem for me because of how hard I was on myself and my overwhelming expectations as a perfectionist. What if you wrote your own version of a champion's poem to someone important in your life? What if you wrote one to yourself, to a work colleague, to a significant other if you have one, or to your children, especially your children? Using words to inspire ourselves and others is a powerful way to boost mental health and performance. When we rewire our thoughts and words, we rewire our beliefs. And when we rewire our beliefs, we rewire our minds. When we rewire our minds, we shift how we see the world and start to create more of what we want. This is how we own our zone. The next frontier in human performance is connecting to the heart. We're open and willing to going on the longest journey we'll ever take. The 18 inches from our head to our heart. When we connect to our hearts as leaders, we're able to take that next step to truly know ourselves. Because if we are stuck in our heads all day, which many of us have challenges with, what happens is we can't show up with greater calmness, clarity, focus, and purpose. We have to be able to learn how to connect our heads to our hearts so that we can show up as the best version of ourselves. I'm going to keep going though. So this is core principle number 3. If we look at the next 20 years with AI is amazing and we're all going to use that technology. But what if we are able to connect to our hearts on a personal level and connect with others on a personal, deeper level and use AI? That's how this is all going to work out for us and be successful in the end here. So the research shows, the studies show that if we're not able to process and regulate emotions that come out up through the day, like frustration, anger, shame, guilt, worry, all the things that can affect us personally and professionally, it puts us in a chronic fight or flight state. And this decreases our performance and well-being, and it impacts our energy level and how we can show up and our ability to show up in the world successfully. Again, personally and professionally, it's an integrated approach for us to be aware of these things. Many leaders end up suppressing or disconnecting from their emotions. Some react in the moment and get angry. You probably don't know anyone that reacts in the moment and gets angry. I know a few people that I can think of. But what's really cool about all of this is a skill that we can all develop. The ability to be emotionally intelligent and emotionally regulated in the moment. Because when these big emotions come up, we want to be able to harness it so that we are able to increase our capacity to handle stress and have more energy throughout our days. Nearly 8 years after I saw my brother lying helplessly on his bedroom floor, we were together again. And this time we were inside Wakulla Maximum Security Correctional Facility outside of Tallahassee, Florida. My brother was serving a 4-year prison term for armed robbery that the detectives labeled as a drug deal gone bad. Wearing a blue jumpsuit, sitting across from me inside the cafeteria, a sterile white picnic table between us. I listened to my brother's story of addiction, of the drug use, the drug dealing, of the pain and suffering he experienced and how he'd hurt so many that loved him. 6 months earlier, Eric calls me from the prison house phone. He says, "Jeff, I really want to change, but I have no idea how to do it." So we hatched a plan. I created a customized coaching program in prison. Thankfully, it was a virtual program. I didn't have to go there. Eric began to transform his body, mind, and soul. He changed his thought and word patterns, added breath work, journaling, meditation, and prayer to his daily routine. He even started cleaning the toilets at 5 a.m. every morning to be of service to the inmates. And I knew he was serious about transformation because he never cleaned the toilets at home. Eric also discovered a hidden talent for public speaking that he didn't know existed. And speaking in prison was perfect for him because his audience was fully captive. Bump. When Eric was released from prison, he was full of gratitude and humility, committed to his growth and transformation. I was more than happy to play the role of big brother, coach, mentor, best friend, and biggest fan. And for the next 3 years, we were as close as three brothers could be. Eric comes out of nowhere to win a prestigious public speaking contest, sharing his powerful message about how he went from a life in prison to a life of purpose. This landed Eric a TEDx talk just 2.5 years after getting out of prison. And it launched his coaching and speaking business. But success and pressure started to come way too fast for Eric. It challenged his self-esteem and his identity. And we started to drift apart because some of the choices that he started to make. With all the success, he was having a hard time figuring it all out, and that led him back into a life of drugs. And unfortunately, we lost him just over 2 years ago to a fentanyl overdose. The more time Eric spent in his head instead of his heart, seeking external validation from money, power, control, the next business deal, and other worldly things, the more disconnected he was from his heart. And what I've learned working with high achievers is that we all can at some level get disconnected from our heart. We can all at some level feel misaligned with our mission, our purpose, how we show up every day. My brother's an extreme example of that, but it's one big reason why I'm here today and why I get on stages. My why is around being a part of the solution to the mental health challenges that so many are facing today, many of them suffering silently under the surface. So the studies show that if we aren't able to emotionally regulate, if we're not able to deal with the pressure and stress in our lives, over time, it can lead to illness and disease. In fact, one study shows, according to Dr. Bruce Lipton, that 95% of all illness and disease is related to how we carry and handle this stress. So here's your pro fundamental to reconnect to the heart. You sync the heart. What does it mean to sync the heart? You make a heart-brain connection to consistently regulate emotion. I'm about to show you a powerful exercise that you can practice consistently that can shift all of this for you and help you improve in this area of your life and perform at higher levels. The reason why we want to do this and not understate it is because the heart is your superpower. The heart's magnetic field is 100 times stronger than the brain's magnetic field. It's the key to your performance in the future. Here's what happens when we feel frustration, impatience, and worry throughout the day. Our heart rhythms get out of sync, and this drains our energy. Our brain doesn't work as well. Our decision-making processes go down. But what happens when we experience more gratitude, compassion, appreciation, and patience in our lives? Our heart rhythms get in sync. And this is how we expand our capacity to handle stress and have more energy throughout our days. So I want to show you a quick exercise that you can start to practice if you're open to it. It's called heart-focused breathing. And what we're going to do is we're going to do it together for 60 seconds. It's completely optional. And there's just 2 steps. You're going to focus on the area of your heart, and you're going to take longer and slower deep breaths. Now, you can do this with your eyes open or closed, and I also encourage you, if you're comfortable, you can put one hand or both hands on your heart, or you can have hands by your side. So we're just going to do it for 60 seconds right now. With your eyes open or closed, bring your attention and awareness to the heart. Just simply notice your heart right now. It might be the first time you've noticed your heart in a while. If you notice your heart beating, that's a good sign. You're still alive. I want you to see if you can slow down your breath. Make the breath a little bit slower, a little bit deeper than it was earlier. breathing in and out through your heart as if it's the only place that the breath can go. Just bring this attention to your heart with your breath. In and out through your heart, slowing the breath down, finding a natural, comfortable rhythm that works for you. And take one more breath in and out through your heart. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes if they were closed, and we'll continue. Hopefully you feel a little calmer than you did a minute ago. If you feel like taking a nap after lunch, that's totally normal. But this comes from the Heart Math Institute. And the CEOs, the Fortune 500s, the Olympic athletes, the pro sports teams, the Navy SEALs, they're all doing a version of this breath work. And I'd love for you to consider doing that and adding it to your life so that you can have more energy. You can regulate that stress. You can do it before meetings, before hard conversations. It can make a huge difference. So today we covered the 3 core principles to help you own your zone. Restore the body, rewire the mind, and reconnect the heart. This is how we can transform our lives. This is how we can show up as our best selves. But the studies show that 12% of us will walk out of this room today and apply the principles that I shared with you today. But we're going to crush that 12%, right? You're not part of the 12%. We're going to increase that, right? Right? Okay, we got a right there. Thank you. So we want to make sure that we're not part of the 88% that don't do it. So here's what happens when you get an accountability partner, because this is the secret. If you try to do this alone, the odds go down that you're going to be able to successfully add some of these fundamentals to your life. Okay? So if you have ongoing accountability, I'm going to suggest you find someone in this room, a family member, a friend, or hire a coach to help you be accountability, because your odds are going to go up. 95% is what the stats show. So last time I checked, pressure, stress, and uncertainty, they're not going away anytime soon. So when we go through stress, when we feel the stressful experiences in our lives, we can make a decision. We can slow down, pause, and take a deep breath. We can reflect and we can ask ourselves this question: what's the next best action I can take in this moment to own my zone? Make no mistake, owning your zone is not for the faint of heart. It takes courage, commitment, and a willingness to grow. And just like a grueling 5-set tennis match at the US Open, we have the odds stacked against us with all of our habits, all of our routines, maybe some of the ones we're not as proud of as we could be. But there's always an opportunity to start over again when we slip up. I was so impressed, so inspired by how my brother turned a tough time in his life and turned it around. Yes, it didn't work out the way we wanted. It wasn't the ultimate comeback story, but for a time in his life, this transformation was so powerful. And I'm committed to carrying his legacy on. And I want you to focus on all the great stuff that my brother was doing. Getting on that TEDx stage, absolutely remarkable. Going from rock bottom and shifting. Yes, when he passed away, was there post-traumatic stress that I experienced in every cell of my body? There was. But I learned that I could turn that post-traumatic stress and turn it into post-traumatic growth. When Eric was owning his zone, when he was totally locked in, he made a video. He created a video to inspire others. And I'd like you to hear it.
What's up, everyone? You are worthy. You are worthy of whatever positive change you wish to create in your life. That's the first step. You have to believe that. You have to believe that you can succeed in whichever area you choose to, right? It doesn't matter about your lineage, your family history, your past mistakes. Today is a new day. Tomorrow is a new day. And that's our time to create whatever change we want. Guys, take action. Don't wait another day. Let's grow together.
Let's grow together. Today is a new day. Tomorrow is a new day. We are not defined by our past. We can take action going forward. We can take the next best action in our personal and professional lives to own our zone and be the best version of ourselves. Here are the 3 core principles again. Number 1, sleep deep. The most important part of the day is the night. Number 2, win with words and our thoughts. Remove negativity and complaining. And number 3, sync the heart. Make a heart-brain connection to consistently regulate emotions. This is how we take care of ourselves and inspire others to do the same. How we expand our capacity to handle stress, adapt quickly through uncertainty, and create lasting longevity. How we own our zone and thrive under pressure to win big in life. Thank you very much. One more thing. If you want to stay in touch, if you want that champion's poem, I've got a QR code. If you want to pull out your phone, you can use the QR code. I highly recommend you get one of those so you can share it with someone close to you. And if you'd like to stay in touch, you can do so that way. Thank you so much, Next. I appreciate all of you. Thank you.